This video focuses on the annotated bibliography portion of the research or practice assignment. The annotated bibliography is worth 9 points and is due on February 14th. It's to be submitted through Canvas under assignments. As part of the annotated bibliography, you're going to conduct a literature search or library research regarding your topic. It's imperative that you have your topic approved by me to make sure that you're on the right track. And it's also imperative that you've completed the library module on week 3 or module 3 that teaches you how to conduct a literature search and conduct library research. Even if you have a good grasp of the library, it's imperative that you complete this because it provides you detailed instructions on how to complete library search for this specific assignment. It talks to you about what an annotated bibliography is. It teaches you about how to log on from off campus, and since this is a distance learning course, that's necessary. It also teaches you about APA citations, and for all of your assignments, you're going to need to use APA 6th edition. So it's important that you really understand how to cite and how to reference within APA. And so there's some links to some sites regarding APA that are imperative for you to review. So it is necessary that you go through the entire module in week 3 in order to be able to become successful in completing the research to practice assignment. For the annotated bibliography, you will need a minimum of 5 library resources relating to your topic of choice. You can have your research question by the time you do this, or you can use the library sources to determine what your research question is. Different students take different approaches, and I'm happy to walk you through which approach might work best for you depending on your topic. For the library sources that you need, and again you need 5, at least 3 or a minimum of 3 must be empirical peer-reviewed research studies. And again, the library module will explain to you what peer-reviewed is, but peer-reviewed focuses on the fact that the article has been published in a journal. The journal, when they receive an article, send it out to experts in the field to review and make sure that the information being presented is valid, reliable, and helpful in broadening the topic and understanding the research and the topic in this area. And so it's been vetted and is considered to be legit. So at least 3 need to be within that category of empirical peer-reviewed research studies. The other 2 can be summary articles, they can be literature reviews, they could be an edited book chapter, a meta-analysis, which is a combination of different studies and in which new data is analyzed. What I don't want you to do is Google your topic, find some random website, and cite that. I also don't want you to go onto Wikipedia and just cite the entry from Wikipedia. The reason I don't want that is because not everything that's on the web is legit, and unless you're a good judge of whether that is actual real research, I don't feel comfortable with you doing that. If it's through a library, if it's in a chapter, if it's published, if it's in a book, if it's in a journal that might not be peer-reviewed, then the legitimacy of that work is evident. I'm not saying that for the paper or for the tool you can't use some web resources, and in fact for the tool you might want to, but for the annotated bibliography, it should strictly be library sources. Okay? The course textbook is also cannot serve as one of your sources. It will not be counted towards the 5 required resources. So if you choose to put your textbook in as one of the resources in the annotated bibliography, you will still need 5 more resources. We are not using the textbook as a source. You can find information on how to write an annotated bibliography both in the library module as well as through this OWL website. And I know in the library module, Susan Ario includes this website. I am particular to it because it really gives you a nice idea of how to organize your annotations. And so for an annotated bibliography, what you'll do is you'll provide a reference that's an APA style. Then you will do an annotation. And I will point you to the website here so you can see. For the annotated bibliography, what you're going to do, as I said before, is you're going to put a reference, and then after that reference, immediately following the reference, you're going to provide a summary or an evaluation of that reference. There's 3 things I'm looking for in your annotation. The first one is for you to summarize the article. So what you want to do is talk about what are the main questions, what's the point, what were the findings. So how can you summarize it? I don't want you to use the abstract, but I want you to be able to summarize in your own words what the authors did. There's a handout on paraphrasing that you can also review if you have difficulty with paraphrasing and summarizing articles. The second thing you're going to do in your annotation is to assess. And what we mean by assess is really evaluate. So how helpful is this source? How is it in comparison to maybe some of the other sources? Do you think that this is a good source? Is it objective? Usually if it's a library source, it's usually legitimate, but I want you to think about how does that information play with what you already know and with maybe the other sources in your annotated bibliography, and really assess its usefulness. And the final piece is to reflect. And in terms of the reflection, it's thinking about how can this article be used to address your topic. So is it helpful? Will it help you in shaping your argument? Is it really providing you with one of those main answers or key ideas that you're looking for that's going to help you with the rest of your project? Is it maybe providing you with more of a implications piece that'll be useful in developing of your tool, for example? So how will this paper really help you in the grand scheme of the assignment? And so what I really want is for your annotation to include all 3 aspects of this description. Okay, and you can continue to read through the website here, and in fact it'll give you an APA handout that you can look at and use to help you with figuring out how to reference and cite information. The next thing I want to do is actually show you an example of an annotated bibliography that's been submitted in the past. Before I do that though, I want to bring your attention to the assignment one more time. So what you're really being graded on in this assignment is the fact that you have the correct resources. So you've done the research, you have those 3 empirical peer-reviewed studies, you have 2 other acceptable articles that you've cited or chapters, your information is APA style, and your annotation includes those 3 aspects: the summary, the assessment, and the reflection. And you'll see your rubric, and I grade by these rubrics, so it's important that you follow them, really gives you the point distribution. So if you have the 5 appropriate references, you'll get your 2 points. If your references are written in APA 6th edition style, you'll get a point. And then your other points come from summarizing, assessing, and reflecting in each annotation. So it's very straightforward. Let me give you an example of an annotated bibliography. This annotated bibliography was submitted by a student last semester. And so what you'll see is she has the reference written in APA 6th edition. So you have your last name followed by initials, followed by the year, followed by the title of the journal article. Then the journal name is italicized, and you have the volume and the number and the page number in which the article can be found, followed by the DOI, which is your identifier. If there is no DOI, then you would include the website for the journal. And then in her annotated bibliography, for example, these are her annotations. So you see it's a paragraph long, some are a little longer than others. And she summarizes the article. So the paper was a research study that looked at self-efficacy as it relates to STEM undergraduate degree completion. They looked at self-efficacy and the stability of interest in STEM, as well as the relationship between feelings of intellectual capacity at various points in life. Both of these research questions were compared with the completion of an undergraduate degree in STEM. She evaluates. It was interesting to note that the findings did not show that gender or race had statistical influence over the question responses. The study was a national study that looked at over 3,000 respondents. And she reflected, I like the research questions and would like to take a similar perspective for my research. I like the take on the longevity of STEM interest, as well as the feelings of intellectual capacity as they tie to self-efficacy. I think that this understanding can play well with helping teachers, trainers understand what students need to maintain interest. Here's another example, another study, again, another peer-reviewed study in a journal article. It's a journal article in a journal. And she writes, this article looked at how burnout was impacted by various factors: study habits, self-efficacy, and academic success in high school students located in Turkey. Self-efficacy can impact burnout, which in turn decreases the likelihood or long-term pursuit of education or career fields. Summary. Then she says, interestingly, the articles discussed how female adolescents experience higher rates of burnout than males. Self-efficacy impacts adolescent self-confidence, intellectual and academic development, social interactions proficiency, and the career decision process. The researchers incorporated the SSEEA in their research. The scale is useful in determining academic, social, and emotional efficacy beliefs of adolescents. Results showed high self-efficacy beliefs paired with low cynicism, higher study habit levels, higher school engagement, and higher GPAs. Surprisingly, the researchers also found those with poor study habits and low self-efficacy belief levels also had high self-efficacy. So there's your summary and your evaluation. And then her reflection was that the article was interesting and that it combined not just self-efficacy and career choice pursuit of adolescence, but also the burnout component, which is something I think as we continue to see high-stakes testing more across the various grades and more prevalent in education needs to be considered. So she actually, this one was a little bit more extensive because it was probably a more extensive journal article. But she does a nice job of combining her summary and her evaluation and then reflecting on the findings and on the article itself. She goes on to do the same thing for the following 3 citations or references. And remember, you need a total of 5. So I'm going to be posting this under the Research to Practice module resources, so in case you want to take a look more at this specific example of an annotated bibliography. So with that, you should feel comfortable with writing an annotated bibliography now that you've seen what one looks like, you've seen a description of it, and you've also seen my grading rubric. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me and ask. Thank you.